Tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
A giant of the U.S. Supreme Court passed away this week.
A new student group is pushing for gun violence prevention on campus.
And one Northwestern ROTC commander's quest to run a marathon on every continent.
All those stories and more.
Coming up next on the Northwestern News Report. It's your news right now. Welcome to the Northwestern News Report. I'm Isabel Lawrence.
And I'm Eric Miller. Thanks for joining us tonight. One of the leading conservative voices of the U.S. Supreme Court passed away this week. Justice Antonin Scalia served the court for 30 years, and his passing has set the stage for a political battle in the Capitol. NNN's Alex Letterman has more.
On a snowy President's Day in Washington, the Capitol is thinking not of the executive, but the judiciary. One of the most influential judges of the past half-century, Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia died Saturday of natural causes. He was 79.
Whatever one thinks of the particular views that Justice Scalia espoused in his judicial writing and otherwise, he was a giant in the law, and he was brilliant.
Scalia pioneered an approach to constitutional law called originalism, making constitutional judgments based on the original meaning of the text. Over 30 years, he became a leading conservative voice on the court.
I'm concerned about the wisdom of this court imposing, through the Constitution, a requirement of action which is unpalatable to many of our citizens for religious reasons.
Illinois Democratic Senator Dick Durbin said, "While our opinions on the law and jurisprudence were frequently at odds, he was steadfast and true to his beliefs during his tenure." His Republican colleague Mark Kirk tweeted, "R.I.P. Justice Antonin Scalia, one of the greatest constitutional scholars to ever serve U.S. on bench." Justice Scalia's death could change the ideological orientation of the court for a generation. And with 2016 an election year, Republicans are sure to try and delay President Obama's nomination until after the 2016 election. While Obama called on the Senate for a fair hearing and timely vote for his nominee, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the American people should have a voice in the selection of their next Supreme Court justice. Therefore, this vacancy should not be filled until we have a new president. But the People for the American Way, a progressive advocacy group, stood out in the snow Monday to protest a potential delayed nomination.
The Supreme Court is just too important to be held hostage to the same kind of partisan gridlock that's ruined so much of the rest of Washington.
From Washington, Alex Letterman, NNN.
We'll keep you updated as the fight for Justice Scalia's seat plays out.
The 2016 campaign rolled through the Midwest last week with a Democratic debate in Milwaukee. NNN's Jesse Kirsch was there and is here live to tell us about the shakeup in that race.
That's right, Isabel. After Senator Bernie Sanders' definitive New Hampshire primary win, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton found herself on the defensive, trying to shore up minority support. And early Thursday, an endorsement from the Congressional Black Caucus's political arm gave her that boost. But the nomination still does not seem like a sure thing for Clinton, and that meant Milwaukee was set for a high-octane evening.
After a landslide defeat in New Hampshire last week, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had to prove she is still the candidate to beat. And Thursday night, she had a chance in the latest Democratic debate with Senator Bernie Sanders. But Clinton wasn't the only one looking to make a statement in Milwaukee.
Protesters have been gathering here since about 5:30 when we first arrived, and the crowd has grown ever since. There are people for both candidates and people who just want to have their voices heard ahead of tonight's debate and the 2016 election.
Bernie Sanders is a little bit late to the party. We're not giving up the promises of the Obama administration to someone who's done nothing for 30 years in the Senate. We are fighting for Hillary.
Some came to support Sanders for his work in the Senate to help pensioners, a group slightly older than his expected millennial crowds.
So what would you say to someone who says Hillary's getting, the older crowd, Bernie's getting the younger?
I'm shocked. We're the middle class, and that's where Bernie Sanders stands out. He's somebody we trust. He's somebody that's trying to help the middle class as it's shrinking away, and that's why we're supporting Bernie Sanders.
Other demonstrators said they have no candidate in mind and favor neither party.
They want two things, $15 in a union. They don't care if you're Democrat or Republican.
Democratic National Committee Chair Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz encouraged the demonstrators and their contribution to the American political process, no matter their cause.
These kinds of political forums are an opportunity for people to, put in sharp relief the issues that are important to them.
On stage at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, the two candidates seemed to fully agree on some issues. Clinton argued she is the one that will get results, calling Sanders' college tuition plan unrealistic for states like Wisconsin, whose governor, she said, wouldn't be cooperative. Wisconsin's Governor, Scott Walker, responded to that claim mid-debate, saying on Twitter that he did in fact work to make college more affordable, although he did not say if he would be open to Senator Sanders' plan. When asked about Clinton's assertion, Sanders' campaign manager Jeff Weaver said the secretary's plan didn't seem much different.
I didn't quite understand her attack, saying that she relies on governors to do her plan as well.
After looking at the two candidates' websites, NNN found that Clinton explicitly called on states to cooperate and commit funding, and Sanders said public schools would be required to meet 100% of low-income students' needs, with state funding pitching in. According to Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin, a Democrat and Clinton supporter, both Democratic candidates have the right ideas. But Baldwin believes Clinton is the one who will do more than just make campaign promises.
I just want to make sure that we can actually get the job done, that it's not just talk, that it's results, and that's why I'm supporting Hillary Clinton.
The next time Democratic voters will have a chance to weigh in on this duo will be Saturday for the Nevada caucus. In Milwaukee, Jesse Kirsch, Northwestern News Network.
On the other side of the aisle and the other side of the country, Republicans came out swinging in a debate of their own. The 6 remaining candidates took the stage in South Carolina on Saturday. Jeb Bush and Donald Trump dominated the first part of the debate. Trump claimed Bush's brother tricked the country into the Iraq War. Bush commented on Trump's lack of experience and past remarks on minorities and women. Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio also traded jabs throughout the night. Rubio called Cruz a serial liar, and Cruz accused Rubio of promoting a liberal immigration agenda. Meanwhile, John Kasich, who finished second in the New Hampshire primary, spent much of the debate calling for a more civil race. South Carolina will hold its primary this Saturday.
Moving on from making political waves to making gravitational waves, Northwestern researchers were part of an international team that announced the discovery of gravitational waves this week. This was the last prediction of Einstein's theory of relativity to be confirmed. Gravitational waves are ripples in space-time caused by the pull of supermassive objects like black holes. Think of it like dropping a pebble into a pond. The pebble in this case was the collision of 2 black holes a billion miles away. Here on Earth, 2 directors called LIGO felt the ripples from that impact and translated them into sound, allowing researchers to listen into the depths of space as well as look.
Gravitational waves now is yet a brand new way of listening actually to the universe instead of looking at it in some ways. And in that respect, we expect that we'll find out, we're gonna learn things we have not even imagined.
Going forward, researchers hope to use LIGO to listen to things like echoes from the Big Bang.
And coming up, a group on campus wants NU students to be part of the solution to gun violence.
I'm Sam Brief, and coming up, I'll have your 5-day weather forecast.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win. Go Cats!
Down and knock on its door. You might ask, What's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
Good evening, and here's your 5-day weather forecast on this Tuesday evening. Tomorrow you can expect light snow showers in the morning with a high of 30 degrees and a low of 24. But definitely look forward to Thursday, as the sun will return with a high of 39 and a low of 37 degrees. On Friday, make sure to enjoy some of the highest temperatures we've seen in a while. A high of 54 degrees and a low of 40 in February certainly isn't too shabby. And that will continue through the weekend with a high of 48 and a low of 34 on Saturday, and a high of 47 with a low of 32 on Sunday. Go out, enjoy the nice weather this weekend. This has been Sam Brief with your 5-day weather forecast.
A Northwestern University police lieutenant faces child pornography charges. Ronald Godby was charged in Cook County on February 3rd for grooming and manufacturing and possessing child pornography, according to the Chicago Tribune. According to officials, Godby took photos showing a girl's genitals when she was 13 and again around the time she was 17. Godby, who worked at the Evanston campus, has been placed on administrative leave and banned from Northwestern University property. We'll keep you updated on any further developments.
In 2014, a group within Northwestern's college Democrats started meeting to discuss gun violence. About 2 years later, Northwestern Students for Gun Violence Prevention has grown and may receive official student group status from the Division of Student Affairs. NNN's Meredith Sonnefeld has more.
Early this quarter, Northwestern Students for Gun Violence Prevention applied for official group status from Northwestern's Division of Student Affairs. With official student group status and more funding, the group will be able to expand their programming and membership. Weinberg Jr. Eitan Licht, the co-president of Northwestern Students for Gun Violence Prevention, said the group's mission is to create a thoughtful and productive atmosphere for students who are troubled by gun violence.
We want to make people feel like they're not powerless, and I guess, like many things, the first step to not feeling powerless is to educate oneself.
The other co-president of the group, Weinberg Jr. Claire Fisher, said moving to the Chicagoland area for college made gun violence especially relevant.
When I was really sort of appalled and really shocked about how much death was taking place in the city that I'm now living in, or living right north of. So I think I just really wanted to do something about it.
The group plans to educate students and facilitate discussion through movie screenings, guest speakers, and even art installments. Weinberg Jr. Tate Murphy, the head of marketing for Northwestern Students for Gun Violence Prevention, said he thinks group events will give Northwestern students a new perspective on gun violence.
It's something that a lot of Northwestern students haven't been exposed to, and it provides an extra lens, I feel, that really adds another dimension to the whole issue.
Meredith Sonnefeld, Northwestern News Report.
Northwestern Students for Gun Violence Prevention should hear back from the Division of Student Affairs about their status by the end of the week.
As this new group petitions to become official, we wanted to know what you think about gun violence. So we decided to ask what you want to see in this edition of Rock Talk.
I'm definitely an advocate for more background checks, a lot more control, as opposed to letting people, buy guns not at will, but with the amount of freedom they have now. I think having more control over that process would definitely eradicate some of the problems that we have.
Gotta have everything possible, from background checks to gun registration to holding people accountable for the guns that they own.
There should be some more restrictions on, who can buy guns, and I feel like that's the best place to start. I think banning all guns would be a little silly, but I think take a good step in the right direction is just limiting what kinds of guns some people can buy and maybe who can buy them.
If you have an idea for next week's Rock Talk, tweet at us at NNN_news.
Up next, 4 Beanon students traveled to Washington, D.C. for a nationwide showcase.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
4 Northwestern students took the stage at the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. tonight as part of the Conservatory Project, a semi-annual showcase for emerging musical artists from colleges, universities, and conservatories across the nation. Soprano Madison Leonard, along with pianist Dong Wan Hua, cellist Rihanna Anthony, and violinist Dmitry Pogorilov performed in D.C. Beanin professor Nolan Pearson also served as a collaborative pianist.
A month ago, I got a call from one of the faculty members here at Beanin, and he represents the voice faculty, and he told me that I had been nominated by the different faculty members in the school, and I'd been chosen to select the voice program, which I was really honored because there's a lot of really amazing singers in this school, so I felt very privileged to be able to represent our department at the Kennedy Center.
This marks the 12th consecutive year that students from the Beanin School of Music have been featured in the Conservatory Project concert series.
Around the world in 80 days is one thing, but United States Marine Corps Captain Daniel Kartika ran across the world in 7. NNN's Margaret Korn met up with the Northwestern ROTC instructor to discuss his feat.
Daniel Kartika has run where most have never even traveled. As a competitor in the 2016 World Marathon Challenge, Kartika recently ran 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. He committed to the race in the wake of the 2015 Chattanooga shooting.
I just felt it was very, very important that we do not forget, everything that these 5 servicemen brought to the table.
The race began in Antarctica, where the competitors ran 4 10K loops. Training in Chicago helped Kartika prepare for the Arctic weather.
I did a couple of workouts between the hours of 11 o'clock at night and 1 o'clock in the morning purposely, just to get myself into that cold mindset.
After Antarctica, the runners were back on a plane heading to Punta Arenas, Chile, where Kartika ran his fastest race. Next, the race moved to Miami Beach, where he saw some familiar faces.
My parents came down from New York, my younger brother as well. So Miami went pretty smooth.
He raced in Madrid and Marrakesh. However, the toughest part of the challenge came in race 6 in Dubai.
My right hamstring really locked up. I contemplated and I thought about my rationale for taking on this endeavor. And those 5 individuals, they would not have quit.
Kartika finished race 7 along Sydney's Manly Beach. He broke a new World Marathon Challenge record.
So I wasn't concerned about not finishing it. I knew I would find a way, and if I had to walk the last 2 marathons, I would have walked the last 2 marathons.
Margaret Korn, Northwestern News Report.
Kartika completed the challenge after training for 3 months. He'll be celebrating 5 years in the service next month. And coming up, we'll take a look at what the Northwestern basketball teams have been up to this week.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
Welcome back. Both Northwestern basketball teams were in action this past week.
Evan Denton joins us with more on the Cats.
Thank you, guys. Going into Saturday night's game against the rival Illinois Fighting Illini, the men's basketball team had lost 6 of its last 7 games. Could they turn it around? Let's take a look. Sophomore Sky Lindsay doing some last-minute pregame shooting drills before tip-off. Following a Trey Demps missed 3, Gavin Skelly with the tip out to wide open Sky Lindsay, and practice makes perfect. Cats trailing 14-11 early. If some is good, more is better. Brian McIntosh finds Lindsay again for 3 from the wing. At the half, Cats trail 23-21. Second half now, Sky Lindsay continues to be on fire, knocking down back-to-back 3s from the wing. Cats lead 38-35 in the second half. Illinois will continue to fight. Forward Maverick Morgan with the dunk. Illinois leads 46-42. Under 8 minutes to go, senior Trey Demps burst to life with a 3 from the top of the key, followed by a corner 3. The ensuing possession, Trey Demps knocks in a 3 from the wing. And you guessed it, the very next possession, one more. Cats lead 54-49, 5:35 left to go in the game. 2.7 seconds left now. Malcolm Hill drives and loses the ball. The Cardiac Cats survive and win a thriller over the rival Fighting Illini 58-56. What a game for the Cardiac Cats. The men's basketball team now hits the road for back-to-back road games before playing Rutgers at Welsh-Ryan Arena on February 27th. The women's basketball team was also in action this weekend as they took on the number 5 ranked Maryland Terrapins. Back out to Welsh-Ryan Arena we go. The Wildcats looking for a marquee victory to add to their NCAA tournament resume. Maryland star Shatori Walker-Kimbrough stole the spotlight with her arsenal of textbook jump shots, passes, and penetrating drives the entire afternoon against the Wildcats, finishing the game with 15 points. What a player. The Cats would not quit though. Senior Maggie Lyon drives, gets fouled, and makes the basket. She would make the following free throw. Cats trail 46-37. Junior Nia Coffey down the post, finishes the tough layup, and watch this. Ashley Derry comes out of nowhere, steals the inbound, goes behind the back, and finds a cutting Kristen Inman for the layup. But it would be a little bit too late. In all, the Terrapins would outlast the Cats 79-70. The women's team returns to action on Wednesday against the Penn State Nittany Lions at Welsh-Ryan Arena at 7 o'clock.
Up next, a Broadway classic comes to Chicago.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
The national tour of Cabaret opened its run in Chicago last week. NNN's Caitlin Boudreau has more.
In 1966, Broadway show Cabaret became a mega hit, inspiring revivals across the globe, and a 1972 movie by the same name. Now the Roundabout Theater Company is taking its Tony Award-winning revival on the road to celebrate the show's 50th anniversary. Next stop, Chicago. The play, set in 1931 Berlin, chronicles life in a cabaret as the Nazis rise to power. Although the show first hit the stage 50 years ago, cast members say the play will resonate with modern audiences.
I found out that this show has something for everybody. First of all, beautiful, sexy girls, great choreography, spectacular music, a lot of which people know. But more important, and I think especially important now, it has a deep message about zealots and ideologues.
If you bought me diamonds.
Shannon Cochran, who plays Fräulein Schneider in the production, says Cabaret's persistent theme of discrimination may be more important now than ever.
As long as there's political injustice in the world, cabaret will always have a place in theater, and that's true, and never more true than today.
Cochran also lit the new marquee for the first time at the Private Bank Theater. A former resident of the Windy City, Cochran said she is happy to be back in Chicago.
Whenever I come back, all I do is get on the Chicago Magazine and look for the new listings of restaurants.
Caitlin Boudreau, Northwestern News Report.
Cabaret runs at the Private Bank Theater through February 21st. The cast also features Northwestern alum Ned Noyes. Eric, I do love a good musical. Do you have a favorite show?
You know, really, for me, you just can't beat Les Mis. It's got
What a
everything.
classic.
It's got war, it's got songs, it's got 24601.
24601,
Yeah.
of course.
I gotta agree with Eric on that. Les Mis is my musical to go to.
As is mine. We're all in agreement, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know, really my favorite part of that show has always been Monsieur Thénardier, you know, master of the house, doling out the charm.
Classic number, of course.
It's a go-to.
Most definitely.
It really is. What about it? What else do you guys like?
The Lion King is always a classic, I think.
That's a classic, but you know what? I'm more of an Annie type of person. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say that.
Of course.
Well, you know, I will always be a fan of both of those, but, you know, that's all the time we have for you tonight on this edition of the Northwestern News Report.
I'm Isabel Lawrence.
I'm Evan Dent with sports.
And I'm Eric Miller. Thanks for watching.